Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Zhou walked out of the courtyard. It completely exceeded his expectations to obtain the remnant piece from the armor. When the red energy lines exploded, he discovered someone had hidden the Earth Scroll remnant in the armor. The heavenly writing scroll in the Melilot graveyard was not damaged even though it had been left there for a long time. How did the armor survive for centuries? It was all due to the Earth Scroll remnant piece. Is this the source of the armor's so-called unique power? At this moment, Zhou bowed at Zhou and said, "Brother, Lin Xian and I share the same roots, after all. Should I pay him a personal visit?" Zhou looked at Zhou. "If you have your cultivation base, I'd approve of this without question. However, you've severed your lotus and are recultivating. How are you going to deal with him?" Zhou raised her walking stick slowly and tapped it on the ground. An avatar appeared behind her. No golden lotus could be seen under the avatar's feet, only 2 leaves could be seen spinning around it. "With your help, brother, I'm now in the 2-leaf nascent divinity realm." A hint of pride could be seen on her face as she spoke as though she was showing. Indeed. She had the right to brag. After severing her lotus and having to recultivate, her talent was evident in how she had managed to reach the 2-leaf stage again in such a short time. Zhou shook his head. "The 2-leaf stage is too low." Zhu's face fell. Zhu Honggong interjected, "Don't be depressed, Elder Zhou. I'm only at the 1-leaf stage. At our level, we'll be cut down in no time if we venture out there now." Zhu staggered and nearly lost her footing. "Elder Zhou. I'm fine." Zhu looked at Zhu Honggong who was next to her. How frustrating. Talents, cultivation base, experience, and technique, which of these am I weaker than Zhu Honggong? She found it difficult to accept that he was catching up to her. "Stay here and focus on your cultivation. You'll have plenty of chances to show your skills in the future," Zhou said before turning to leave. "Safe journey, Pavilion Master." Zhou returned to the Eastern Pavilion. He did not rush to meditate on the Earth Scroll. Based on his experience of meditating on the human scroll and when he obtained the first power, he would enter an unconscious state. However, he did not draw much attention to himself back then because of his weak cultivation base, and also because he was ensconced in the hidden chamber when he was meditating. The imperial family was keeping a keen eye on the evil sky pavilion at the moment. If there truly was a method to deal with a 9-leaf cultivator, this armor would not be the only trump card they had. To be safe, Zhou decided to intimidate them further. The next day, a letter arrived at the Taishu Academy's main branch. For a time, the content of the letter terrified the entire Taishu Academy. The elders of the Taishu Academy immediately called for a meeting. Inside the discussion hall, Lin Xian swept his eyes across the elders who were present before he asked, "Where are Zhou Wenliang, Wang Jianrang, and Zhang Gong?" "Patriarch, the 3 elders went out yesterday and have yet to return." Lin Xian frowned slightly. "Forget about them. Patriarch, the evil sky pavilion has sent another letter. This time, they're demanding your head. This is going too far." It seemed like the Crown Prince's visit had bolstered some of the elders' confidence. Lin Xian said apathetically, "I've decided to challenge old villain G 3 days later on Dangyang Peak." Men. A disciple appeared inside the discussion hall. "Yes, Patriarch. Bring me my armor." "Understood." In no time at all, 2 disciples carried a box into the discussion hall. When Lin Xian saw the box, he spoke in an extremely valiant manner. "Our success or failure will be determined by this." Shortly after, the news of the Taishu Academy's Patriarch challenging the evil sky pavilion's old villain G spread like a wildfire. It was like a single pebble that gave rise to 1,000 ripples. Lin Xian, the patriarch of the Taishu Academy, was only at the 8-leaf stage in his prime. Where did he get the courage to challenge old villain Ji? There were many differing opinions regarding this matter. In the afternoon, the Hanku branch was also made aware of this. The Hanku branch master, Zhou, called for an emergency meeting with the elders. I think everyone has heard that Lin Xian intends to challenge old villain Ji on Dangyang Peak. What are your views on this? Zhou asked. Is Lin Xian out of his mind? He didn't even dare to provoke old villain Ji when he was in his prime. Why is he throwing his life away now by challenging old villain Ji who has entered the 9-leaf stage? At this moment, the third elder said, I heard that the crown prince, Lu Ji, visited the Taishu Academy and had given them a boost of confidence. A boost of confidence? Unless someone else in the divine capital has attained the 9-leaf stage or the 10-terminal formation has been moved to Dangyang Peak, I don't see where their confidence could have come from. The branch master, Zhou, shook his head and said, Our grand elder, Zhenghai, is most likely killed by the evil sky pavilion. There's a chance the next target on the evil sky pavilion's list is our branch. The others were stunned. That was right. Making fun of the Taishu Academy was the same as making fun of their future selves. Second elder, lead some of our men to Dangyang Peak and secretly observe. Understood. The Big Dipper Academy. President Zhou gathered several disciples and said, I heard that the Taishu Academy's patriarch Lin Xian is challenging old villain Ji to a fight on Dangyang Peak. You are to investigate this but not interfere. Remember that well. Understood. Zhou Yukai nodded and said, If Lin Xian loses, act as though you've seen nothing. If Lin Xian wins, send me a letter immediately. Understood. At the same time, the Sky Conduct Academy, the factions in the Divine Capital, the Crown Prince's retainers, the Imperial Guards, and the remnants of the 10 great sects that survived the evil Sky Pavilion slaughter sent their men to Dangyang Peak as well. On the third day. Dangyang Peak. It was a bright and sunny day. A gentle breeze blew in the air. Lin Xian, the Taishu Academy's patriarch, sat in the center of a huge rock platform in a stately manner. 2 disciples stood not far behind him. Both of them were sweating profusely due to their lack of confidence. Has the word been spread? Lin Xian asked. It has been sent out 2 days ago, Patriarch. Lin Xian looked at the sun above and said, Help me put on the armor. Yes, Patriarch. The 2 disciples opened the box and took the armor out. They walked respectfully to Lin Xian's sides. Lin Xian glanced at the armor and asked, Why is it wrapped in a cloak? Elder Zhou said this way your magnificence would be magnified when we unveil it, one of the disciples replied dutifully. At Lin Xian's age, he no longer cared for appearances. However, on this day, he felt that it was necessary to appear valiant and formidable. He donned the armor as he said, just as well. I'm sure many sects are here to watch me fall. I'll show them. Patriarch, we're counting on you, the 2 disciples said before retreating. Lin Xian said with a chuckle, I know that people in the academy and the other sects are saying that I've lost my mind. However, they don't know the source of my confidence is given by His Highness, the Crown Prince. Patriarch, is the armor the source of your confidence? You'll see soon enough. Lin Xian stroked his beard and nodded. The 2 disciples did not know what else to say. At this moment, many cultivators flew to Dangyang Peak and hid in various corners and crevices around the peak. All of them had their eyes trained on the peak. When the sun was beginning to set, Lin Xian turned around and looked in the direction of the evil sky pavilion. He did not see any cultivator flying toward him in the cloudless sky. He scoffed before he said, It seems like old villain Ji is afraid. You're right, Patriarch. The later Lu Zhou arrived, the more confident he felt. Finally, after some time had passed, he was about to turn around and leave. At the same moment, a flying chariot that left a glowing tail in its wake like a comet appeared on the horizon. It was finally here. The cultivators who were hiding around the peak saw the flying chariot as well and began to spread the word. The evil sky pavilion's flying chariot is here. The hidden cultivator looked at the meteor-like cloud-splitting chariot unblinking eyes, unwilling to miss even a single detail. It's here. It's truly the evil sky pavilion's cloud-splitting chariot. I'm scared. What if old villain G goes all 9-leaf on us and kills? Scram. There were some cultivators gathered at the foot of the mountain as well. When Lin Xian saw the cloud-splitting chariot, he was taken aback at first. Then, he said loudly, right on time. The others should stand back. Understood. The Taishu Academy disciples retreated until they were off the round stone platform. At this moment, Lin Xian was the only one left standing on the round stone platform. The cloud-splitting chariot flew quickly. From the moment it appeared within everyone's eyes, it took only a few brief moments before it arrived above Dangyang Peak. Lin Xian sneered as he looked up and said, "Old villain G, you're finally here." Meanwhile, the cultivators hidden among the forest and at the foot of the mountain looked up eagerly. The cloud-splitting chariot was silent as it hovered in the air. It was motionless as though it had been frozen in time. "Old villain G. Let me have a taste of your 9-leaf power," Lin Xian said. As soon as he finished speaking. Whoosh! A spear shadow shot out of the flying chariot. The spear shadow drew an arc in the air at lightning speed before it transformed into an energy spear. Lin Xian said, displeased and smug, "Even without my protective energy, you can't hurt me with this." After all, the armor he was wearing was made by a 9-leaf cultivator. The intricacy of the formation veins on the armor was mind-boggling. He had studied the veins for an entire night and was convinced the armor was one of a kind. The special power could only be triggered by a 9-leaf attack. Anything below that could hardly get a rise out of it. It was only natural that he disdained the spear. Lin Xian held his ground and stood motionlessly. When the spear's tip was upon Lin Xian, it suddenly spun like an electric drill. With a final spurt, it pierced his armor. Shit! Lin Xian reacted quickly. The instant his armor was pierced, he let out a burst of energy and sidestepped it. Alas, the Overlord's spear was too close to him. He did not manage to avoid getting his vital points pierced. The spear's tip easily sliced through the side of his waist. The battle ended just like that. There was no 9-leaf technique, no extravagant palm, or energy seals. There was no battle that shocked the world or made the gods and ghosts cry. The onlookers from the various sects were stunned. They felt as repulsed as though they had been forcibly fed flies. That's it? Meanwhile, on the flying chariot, Duanmu Sheng had the same thought. He had gone all out when he attacked. He would never hold back when he attacked, even if it was just his first move. He had thrown his Overlord spear out with all his might, but he did not expect his spear to easily stab a great 8-leaf elite. He looked at his palms in confusion as he thought to himself, "Did I unknowingly grow so strong while I was training all this time?" Duanmu Sheng had hit an 8-leaf cultivator with a single strike. Who would believe him if he told them this? At the same time, Lin Xian lowered his head. His eyelids twitched. The sun shone on his chest. The Overlord's spear had pierced through his waist and was now embedded on the ground. Blood flowed down the Overlord's spear to its tip before eventually dripping on the round stone platform, looking like a river of blood. The heat from the sun dried the blood into a sticky mess. How's this possible? Lin Xian tore his clothes, removing them. There was no special armor. He only saw ordinary armor worn by ordinary soldiers. A fake? This is a fake? Lin Xian's eyes widened, and his lips trembled. He struck with his palm. Bam! The Overlord's spear was pushed out of his waist. He did not mind the twofold damage he suffered as he forced the Overlord's spear out. At this moment, Duanmu Sheng leaped off the flying chariot. He raised his hand and summoned the Overlord's spear back to him before he landed nimbly on the round platform. On Dangyang Peak, the evil sky pavilion's Mr. Third, Duanmu Sheng, wielded the Overlord's spear with a hand at an angle behind him as he looked at his opponent. Lin Xian, after suffering 2 blows, staggered backward. He forcibly tapped his meridian points to keep himself from toppling over. Although he was getting old, an 8-leaf cultivator was still an 8-leaf cultivator. Meanwhile, the onlookers were stunned. After a long pause, Lin Xian pressed on his chest and mumbled, "I get it. I get it now." He chuckled as he spoke. "What do you get?" Duanmu Sheng pointed at Lin Xian from a distance. "Everyone wants me to die. The Taishu Academy elders, the disciples, and the crown prince. All of them want me dead." Lin Xian laughed as though he had lost his mind. Duanmu Sheng said, "You deserve to die, anyway." "Yes, I deserve to die." Although Lin Xian had stopped his bleeding, the spear had injured his internal organs as well. He looked at the flying chariot as he said, "I want to talk to old villain Ji." After a short pause, Zhou slowly rose to his feet on the flying chariot. He stood beside the helm and looked down at Lin Xian. "Lin Xian, what more do you have to say?" When Lin Xian saw Zhou, he felt invigorated. "I've never feared anyone in my life, but you, Ji Tiandao, might be the first. I do not wish to explain myself further." Zhou placed his hands on his back and asked, "Nothing else? If it's possible, I'd like to exchange a few blows with you before I die." Lin Xian unleashed a dense stream of primal qi. The primal qi grew denser. His aura was clearly different now. It was clear he had chosen to burn his sea of qi. This was like a struggle before his death. The onlookers were shocked by Lin Xian's decision to burn his sea of qi. From afar, he looked as though he was on fire. The fight had not even begun, but he was already burning his sea of qi. Zhou said tonelessly, "You can't even defeat my disciple, and you're fantasizing about fighting me." Upon hearing Zhou's words, Lin Xian's eyes widened as he stumbled a step back. Indeed. He could not even stop the old villain's third disciple. What right did he have to fight the old villain? Duanmu Sheng stepped forward fearlessly. He did not fear any 8-leaf cultivator, let alone a heavily injured one. Lin Xian looked at Duanmu Sheng and said, "If it weren't for this armor, you wouldn't have had a chance. The weak will only find excuses for themselves." Duanmu Sheng suddenly stepped forward swiftly. Thousands of spear shadows appeared. Bam. 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 They stabbed Lin Xian. "Get lost." Boom. Duanmu Sheng was pushed back by the surging power. He rolled as he retreated. An 8-leaf cultivator was, indeed, powerful. The moment Lin Xian let out a burst of primal qi, the wound on his waist suddenly tore and widened. He grunted in pain, causing his primal qi to scatter. "Patriarch." A figure rushed over. Splat. A cold light glinted in the sunlight as Lin Xian was slashed from his chest to his abdomen. His sea of qi had been cut as well. His eyes widened as he looked at the figure who had rushed up to him. The person was smiling as he wielded a weapon that was neither a saber nor a hook. The weapon was densely wrapped in primal qi. Meanwhile, the two Taishu Academy disciples did not move from their spots at all. As the Taishu Academy's patriarch, throughout all the long years he had lived, Lin Xian had never felt as humiliated as he did at this moment. He felt as though he had played right into his enemy's traps. Everything was a ploy. Despicable. Lin Xian cursed. "I'm sorry, cursing at me won't help you survive. You can't even beat me, and you're thinking of challenging my master?"